Hi, this is Charlie from Path of the Bee. In this video, I want to show you how to identify a laying worker colony and how to deal with it. Let's get started. So what happens with a laying worker colony is, for some reason, you lose your queen. You put a new queen in, the bees don't accept her. You have a new queen hatch out, she flies out and meets a grill of a Mack truck or whatever. For some reason your colony does not have a queen, and after a certain amount of time the queen pheromone in the colony dissipates and dwindles down, and there's not enough there to suppress the regular worker bees from developing their ovaries. And so then some of those will start to develop, and then they'll start laying eggs, and they're unfertilized eggs, and so they'll only produce drones. So that's a big indicator when you get in the colony, is you'll see drone comb, and it's sporadic like shotgun blast. It's all spread out around, not really uniform. As you get looking at the egg laying pattern in the cells themselves, there'll be multiple eggs, and they'll generally be kind of along the side and not in the middle. A queen can lay multiple eggs in the center of a cell. Sometimes they do that when they're just getting going, starting out, haven't quite figured out how to just leave one. But if the eggs are on the edge of the cell, because the laying worker, their abdomen's not as long, and so they kind of got to dump them there, leave them on the edge, and they'll put multiple eggs in there. That's a real big indicator that is a laying worker. And then once again, that brood, that laying pattern is just really sporadic, here, there, willy-nilly. So those are the indicators, the things that you look at. And the only way to, trying to put a queen back in, there's enough of that pheromone come up from those laying worker, half queens or semi queens, that they'll reject any queen that you put in there, because they'll think that, well, this bee is laying eggs, so she's our queen, even though she's a big problem. And so you can put a frame of larvae in there, hoping that they'll make an emergency queen or not. They're not gonna. They've got their mind set up that they're good to go. So that's the big problem with it. And so to take advantage of what you have left in that colony, it's gonna die. And so, but you want to be able to use those bees the best of your ability to help you out. And so what I do is we're gonna shake those bees out in the grass, and they'll fly around and move into my good viable colonies and boost up their bee supply and their workforce, and help them get stronger and more productive right into the honey flow season here. So let's get started. I'm gonna get suited up and we'll get going. Okay, so I'm suited up. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smoke this colony up good, and I'm just gonna move it over on the other side of the pond. And that's where I'm gonna shake these bees out and deal with them. I've got it down to here. Middle of the day, I'm not worried about screening them up or anything. I actually want them to fly around. I expect them to get kind of growly and angry with me. I'm gonna smoke them up good, and then and make sure I'm suited up well. And then I'm just gonna start taking apart and carry them over there one box at a time, because I'm getting old and they're heavy. So here we go. Okay, so what I've got set up here is an empty box with a closed up bottom underneath of it and a lid. So as I clean off each frame of bees, I can put it back in there, and we'll go ahead and I got my handy dandy trusty bee brush here, frame grip. We'll just start popping these out, and we're going to shake these off in the grass behind me, so I don't have to step over them. Get my bee brush, sweep them off the frame, just like I was gonna take honey. Clean them up good, and then we're gonna put that right here in this box. Keep the bees from getting on it. We'll let them come in here tomorrow and rob. So I'm just gonna transfer all these frames out of this right into here, and then tomorrow we'll open it back up and let the bees rob out. So Okay, so we're gonna look here at some drone brood laid in worker cell. So if this was worker cell, it would just be you know, in here in this area here, it would just be level with all the normal cone height, capped off. Life is good. But because these are drones, they're so much larger. They've like poofed out. See how these cells have poofed out and gotten big to get the drone in there. See how much bigger they had to make it. And so that's a drone comb. That's all 100% not worker larva, and you can see that the pattern, judging by the maturity level of each of these. See, there's a cap ready to go, and all spread out in between here. There's some that are kind of starting larva. You know, see if I can show you in there. You see, there's some larva just kind of starting in places, and some of it's capped, and that sort of deal. So, see, that's really sporadic. It's not uniform. They are laying in the old brood pattern here. You can see the pollen circle goes around here like this, and inside was the, you know, should have been a normal brood pattern. Inside, that's that shotgun mess from a laying worker. That's how you can identify it. If you start seeing these kind of big puffy cells all sporadic around and no other capped brood, you've got an issue, and that's kind of how you'll know it. This would be a good time, you know, even though these guys are dead, we can look over these. We can look over this larva a little bit and look at real careful for to see if you can see varroa mite. They love the drones, so you know that's you can tear these apart, see if you can see a mite on it somewhere possibly, which I'm not. So that's a positive. That's a real positive sign as far as my mite load. You know, I haven't seen anything. The reason that they go to laying drones is that that's their last ditch effort to contribute to, you know, the continuation of their species. They can produce a whole bunch of males with their DNA and send it out there to help, you know, help out those other colonies. And so that's what they do. And it's a survival instinct. Even though they're not going to survive, they're focused on the good of the group instead of themselves. You know, they know they're going to perish, but they know that the best thing that they can do is to spread their genetics, and that's how they do it the best. So, okay, so I've got everybody here in the stack emptied out completely, and I've got it all stacked up in such a manner that there's absolutely no way for bees to get inside of it. Entrance reducer is turned at 0 entrance. This lid's on here sitting down tight. This box is empty with the upside down, you know, winter position, or rather summer position lid on there. They can't get in. I've shook them all off into the grass. And what they'll do here this evening, they're flying around one of the circles, and the circles will keep getting bigger and bigger until they find a colony to move into. Well, just so happens that my colonies are just across the pond there, and they'll move in. So this is the best way for me to get the maximum value out of a tragic event. So this will work out. It will help those other colonies be stronger. I'm gonna go ahead and watch this for a while. If the bees start to congregate on this too much, I'll smoke them to death and sweep them off of here, and I'll move this equipment some more in hopes that they don't find it, and go ahead and go back. There's a bunch down in the grass, and they're, like I said, they're coming up. They're flying around circles, and majority of them are heading across the way. So, okay, so that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.